So, were you successful? Let's build this together and let's build our own detail view. For this, I'll add a new template and I'll name it single_review.html. Obviously, this name is up to you as always. And we start by extending the reviews base HTML file here. Then we can, of course, again set a title, which could be review detail, and then end block. And we need our content block here. And my idea for this content block is that in there, I want to output the username, below that the review text, or actually below that, I want to output the rating, and then below that, I want to output the review text. So a very simple template without any special styling. You could, of course, make this more fancy, as mentioned before already. But this is now my template, which I want to use. Now we need to add a view for this. So let's add a new view class here. The single review view could be the name for this class. And we also inherit from template view there. Now we add template name property to point at reviews single_review HTML. And then we need our context data, like this, to make sure that we load that data for that single review, so that we load that single review and we set the proper context. Now for this, let's maybe start with the URLs py. Here we need to add a new path. And my idea is that this is now reviews / and then here the ID of that review. And that will be a number, so we can also add the int path transformer in front of it to convert this to a number. So we have this dynamic path segment now, and then for that URL, it's that single review view, which should be loaded as a view, like this. Now that's the URL, and this dynamic segment here will of course be important. In our views.py file, we now want to load that single review. Now getContextData gets these keyword arguments, and that will be the collected dynamic segments we might have gotten for loading this view. So through keyword arguments, we can get access to the dynamic segments encoded in our URLs. So our review ID can be retrieved from Quarks for the key ID, written like this, because I used ID as an identifier here. If you used a different identifier here in your URL, you also need to access it differently on your Quarks. And Quarks are a default Python concept, nothing specific to Django. Now with that review ID, we have our selected review, which we get by using the review model.objects get, and then we can look for the review where the primary key, which is that ID field, is equal to the review ID we got here. That then is that review which we want to pass to the template, and therefore we can set the review key on the context to that selected review, so that this context contains that review, and that context is of course the context being passed to this single review template file. So in here we can then output review.username to output the username of the user who created the review here. Then output the rating here with review.rating. And then of course, here I want to output the text. So that is review. And I named this review text. So .review text here. Now with that, if we save all of this, if we go to reviews/1, I get an error. Block tag takes only one argument. Yeah, this should be end block here. Let's save this and reload, and that looks better. Now we got this review with ID of 1. If I load the other rating with ID 2, I have a totally different output. So this works now also with a class-based view based on the template view. Now let's dig a bit deeper and let's have a look at even more specific view classes.